So, hello, welcome to our special live stream today on the 20th of March with our special guest Robert Freeman, same name like me, so don't get confused. He's the founder of TrendEdge, an analysis tool which I really like, and this is also how we got into touch. Yeah, welcome Robert, and introduce yourself.
Thanks very much, Robert. Yes, it's great to be on this and really have an opportunity to talk to your audience. And I've done this a few times now, and it's fantastic to be able to speak to people and get live feedback, because I think that's so imperative. Not only to articulate the reason why I created this, but also to get feedback from people to make it better as well. We're very community based and very community led as well. So my subscribers, I have an open channel to each one of them. Most of how we create our roadmap going forward is based upon not only my knowledge and my experience from an institutional perspective, but also the feedback from them as well. And it's a two-way street, I think, as far as that's concerned. So I think realistically what I'd like to start with is the reason why I created TrendEdge.
Exactly, yeah.
Just to sort of go back on my background a little bit, is to talk around the fact that I've been in the markets for a while, for nearly sort of 20 plus years, but I've also been in financial technology as well. And I think the marriage of those two, and especially now with the advent of AI and what's happened over the last year or so, has become so much more prevalent to have information so much more readily available to the retail investors out there who actually want to make the right decisions to create the sort of financial freedom with the money that they've got to be able to do that. And to create a platform not only that provides information, but gives them the ability to research not only what they feel they need to invest in, but also takes them through a decision process, a learning process in a way. And we're very proud that we are the only platform on planet Earth at the moment that does this.
So can you
provide all the market data. Sorry, yeah, go on.
No, can you tell me a little bit more about the process? I think that's interesting for many of our community members. As you know, we are focusing on day trading and short-term trading, and I'm always telling them, okay, short-term, day trading, I make my money and I take this out and I invest it long-term. Yeah? And this is where TrendEdge actually is closing the bridge, is a bridge to find suitable stocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it. And I think that if you're looking, it depends on the lens, like all trading, right? If you're a day trader, or you're a quarterly trader, 6 month or year trader, whatever that looks like. Depends what you want to do as far as your appetite is concerned. Because everyone's individual. You know, not everybody wants to do exactly the same thing. And everyone has an idea of what they want to do from a financial performance perspective. And when I was in the market, I was always have to go through this process of learning and understanding. And it was that research decision. And this is why I wanted to have mock trading on the platform, because it's such an important thing to have as far from a simulation perspective. And I use this analogy a lot, which is a flight simulator. You wouldn't put a pilot into a plane without him going through hours and hours and hundreds of hours on a flight simulator, and then he was in charge of people's lives. Well, the same really relates to your money. And I think it's so important not to risk your money without being able to be educated and informed and learn how to choose the right stocks, what your entry point is, what your exit point is, to be able to write your thesis and to be able to learn from that is absolutely imperative. And I want to make this quite clear actually, for the TrendEdge is an educational platform. We do not provide any advice whatsoever. It's just for education and information only. So if you ask, well, how do you pick a stock? What do we do? What stocks I should pick? I can't give you any of that information whatsoever. What I do is provide a platform for you to be able to have all of the market data and information that you need, and a lot more than a lot of my competitors give you, because we provide alternative data as well. I've worked with hedge funds in the past, and quite a few of them. These guys spend millions on alternative data. And what I mean by alternative data, I mean social media data, I mean trending data, I mean Reddit data, I mean data from stock Twitter, all of these different places, which then culminate in giving a much more rounded understanding of what's going to happen with the stock. and it's the predictive nature of it which is absolutely imperative. So I want to go through that a little bit and show you what that looks like on the platform. Robert, is that all right to go through the
Yes,
platform?
yes, of course. This is what the people want to see. What's behind it?
Thank you for that. So I think the best place to start really is to show you the markets that we look at here. I think maybe you can all see the screen.
Yeah.
All our markets that we cover. We cover every stock in each of these. And we can break down into each one of these. So let's look at NASDAQ, for example. And what we show, and what I wanted to do, and I want to give you a high-level view on this. And unfortunately, I mean, I could spend 5 hours going through absolutely everything here, and I know we've got a limited amount of time today. But I wanted to give you a full insight of the reasoning by how we've delivered data to you. And I think that's so important, because what I've looked at from other market data platforms, AI platforms, which give you an AI score, they throw so much information at you, so many charts at you, that you're almost blinded by the data and not able to make a decision or understand why you're making a decision because it's too much to ingest. And especially, depending on your maturity level as a retail investor, you could be really, really mature. You could be doing this for 10, 12 years or something. You really understand your thesis, your process, and what you need. Or you could be brand new and go, I don't know how to choose a stock. I don't know what I should do. And this is the way to sort of start looking at it. So each one of these, we want to give you indicative understanding of what's moving. So what are the highest AI scores? And we'll go into AI scores in a minute and what that looks like and the reasoning for it. And what the score changes. So you can look at directionality, whether it's rising or falling. And then look at the top movers by volume, by volatility, who's winning and who's losing. Really, really simple stuff, really, really easy to understand and look at. And then you can then choose whatever stocks you want. So you can always search for any stock on here. If you've got the mnemonic or you've got the ticker there, and that's just so much easier to do. So that's all the stocks. And we cover these markets, NASDAQ, NYSE, LSE, Euronext, and Extra as well, which is over 6,000 stocks, which is a good sample size, I think, as well. And then it breaks down into a little bit more. So you go from that very sort of high level and then makes it a little more granular. So what are the top stocks that we're looking at as well to watch now and the reasonings to watch them? And this is based upon that AI score that I was talking to you earlier, saying a second ago. And we put an AI score across all of the different sort of metrics that we look at with regard to fundamentals, technicals, and alternative data. Look at all the prices, look what the year-to-date is as well, market cap, and where it is as well. If you are looking at a vertical specifically, then you can break that down by looking at the different industries, and you can break it down by different industries as well. We want to try and make it as easy to look at this platform and to break down what you want to see and where you want to see it. And I think that's absolutely imperative. And then from a discovery perspective, this goes into a bit more granularity, is looking at, again with the AI score, because that's almost the sort of root of an indication of what's happening and what's going to happen. The heat map of what the acceleration looks like, whether it's attention leading, and you've got all of these different data here and what those different flags look like. Earnings going to be within 7 days, and there's a crowd spike as far as mentions are concerned. And this is a really good way to discover what you think you might want to go after and the reason for it. And I think that's really important. So then we go down to predictions. And as I did say, this is just for information purposes only. And some of the questions, I think Robert sort of alluded to this earlier, that you've already asked is, how do you make your predictions? Well,
exactly.
We have an algorithm that goes through this, okay? And it's like, our algorithm is our secret sauce. It's been created over years to get to this point. And the only way you can sort of prove yourself as whether your predictions are working is to be able to show you're working and show your track record. And what we look at, we pick out some of the key stocks here that we think are going to be movers and shakers based upon that kind of change and that kind of hike or that kind of drop. And I think that that's a great place to start. But like anything, when you preach something, you've got to prove it. And this is why I wanted to make this so transparent that when we look at our track record, and if we go to our track record, we can show you what we've called in the past as far as our score is concerned, what the price was at that point on October the 16th, 24, and what it is today and what the change has been. And that's great, and that's all fantastic, and that looks like through quite a long lens, but let's look at it as from a quarterly perspective is concerned, because this is going to be prevalent to what I'm going to say at the end of this, because when you mock trade on Trend Edge, what you'll get is a report at the end of the week, the month, and the quarter on what you've done right and give you an AI synopsis of what you've done wrong, where your catalysts were right, where your inflection points were correct, and where you could have done a little bit better. And this is from an education perspective. It's not advice at all. So if you look at some of these signals that we called, and these aren't all blue chip stuff. This is a lot of stuff that a lot of stocks I wouldn't have thought of looking at.
I would not find them.
I'm sorry?
I mean, many stocks I would not even find or get the idea, yeah, to look at.
And this is what I wanted to show. I think this is the depth of it as well, because going across, it's great to show the markets that we're looking at, but also to show the depth of those, because a lot of people don't see that, and that's sometimes where the highest volatility is. I think people get so hooked up on the fact NASDAQ is 40% is by 11 stocks. I think 11 stocks covers 40% of the NASDAQ, which is great. That's what people really focus on because there's been so much volatility on them. But there's also great volatility and depth here. And you don't have to go out and find that. We find that for you. And then we show it by proving ourselves here. So if you look at Teradyne, which was an interesting one that I hadn't even thought of looking at. And if you look at that, we called it on December the 20, on the 3rd, sorry, excuse me. I called it this, right, we're now at 297, there's a 51% uplift in a quarter. That's huge.
Yeah, maybe we look into Teradyne. Can you show us what information we can get?
Indeed, that's a good point to go. This is a great, thank you, Robert. This is a great point for me to go into one of the cards, actually. So if you click on that, you click on Teradyne, what we'll do is it'll take you to the stock card itself, and this is where the depth of information is, which then you can then go through your entire discovery process. So if you look at it here from this perspective, and you can then look at here the AI score that we had as you can see the AI score here on the right. Now I want to go into this a little bit more detail before I get down the rest of the card, because I think this is really important. We try to make this as granular and really important, as easy to read. And because what it wants you to do is look at this information and go, oh, okay, fine, indicative, this is where we are. So 1, 2, and 3, we look at a sold. So 4, 5, 6, 7, we look at a hold, but sort of directionally. If it's a 7, it's moving towards an 8. An 8, we look at a buy, and that's indicative as well. This isn't advice in any way, shape, or form, but that's what we call it as far as the signal is concerned. And we looked at it that way. And then what we do is, you can see here, as far as the price is concerned, that we called it on October, and we saw it again on November and December as a potential buy, and because that score was there. And then you can make a judgment based upon that. And we've showed that through the price, the AI track record that we just shown there. So let's go down a little bit further. And what we can see is that you've got the ability to buy or to sell if you want to at this point. You've got an idea of exactly what's happened as far as a snapshot, some similar stocks, and also just proving again what the track record has shown you since then. So it just gives you that sort of inflection point. What also happens here, which I think is absolutely enormous, when I worked for JP Morgan years ago, it was to be able to have this kind of analysis, and we had analysts back in the day writing all these reports for us. Now you get this instantly with exactly this right information at the right time, because every time you refresh this stock page, you will get an up-to-date analysis report broken on these 4 quadrants: financial performance, stock prices, the alternative data signals, and I'll come on to those in a little bit, and a conclusion there. So easy to read, so easy to digest, and we've had fantastic feedback on this. We really, really have. And then you go into the different alternative states. Now, as you can see, you've got to sort of sign in or log into to unlock these, and I'll do that in a moment. So we can go from the actual web page into the app to look at all these different signals as well. But you can see that all the different alternative data signals that are folded into the algorithm to then help create that AI score. And this is both, job postings, for example. It's a huge one to look at. Anything that's in growth model, in the growth cycle is going to see it. LinkedIn employees, all the time, news mentions, and then we have all the financial technicals and fundamentals of RSI as well. And that's just to give you an idea of what that is. I'm going to come on to a little bit more detail on that when we go into the app, but I'd like to go through the rest of these tabs here to be able to show you what we're looking at. I mean, we're talking about Reddit being such a huge indicator from a crowd perspective of what could happen on any stocks that you're looking at or any markets you're looking at as well. And what we want to do is give you a snapshot here of what that looks like, a heat map to understand each one of these and what that looks like as far as their mentions are concerned, and just give you an understanding of what some of those performers are looking like based upon Reddit. Really indicative, something you can get your teeth into if you want to. We also have penny stocks as well. I know that's probably important for your community.
Yeah, that's so. I used to trade a lot of penny stocks, and I still like it. Yeah, all or nothing.
That's good to know. It's something we added a while ago because of the volatility, because and especially from a day trading perspective, this is where you can really sort of start looking and start gaining and losing based upon what your appetite is. And I think because it moves so quickly, you have to be so indicative, and especially with what people are saying. And this is why we scour Reddit to look at each one of these and give you up-to-date information of what's being said about each one, and you can look at that from a mentions perspective. If people stop talking about it, you want to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
If it's increased over that amount of time, what's the reason for it? And then you can go into BlackBerry and look at it, what's the reason people are talking about it. And that's all part of the AI score. So we look at the sentiment analysis. We look at what people are saying, whether it's good or bad, and then base that upon how that fits into an AI score there. And obviously the heat map again, and very similar format. We can go through each one of these pages quite interestingly. Crypto as well. I don't know if your community are interested in crypto, whether you do any trading.
Yeah, a lot to trade cryptos, yes.
we pick up the top 10. I think that's what we're going to hold with. That's where the highest volatility is, and where the highest appetite is as well. We can increase this. It's based upon feedback. And as I say, the platform is growing every single day. So, we're in that process of creating these as we need to go forward. And the community feedback is so important, because I want to create something, not just me and in a bubble and my team. We want to get the feedback from what do we need, and we can create it for you, because we've got the framework, we have the infrastructure. We just need the feedback from the guys who are actually going to use it to say, actually, I want this, I need this, and this is the reason. So we can then put it into our roadmap. And then based upon that, we do have alerts for anything. Each one of these alerts you can sign up for. So you'll get a daily update on anything that hits within your portfolio. There's an alert on it and what that looks like. And I think that's really important. And I think moving on to alerts, we've got some interesting alerts here.
Yeah, so Trump alerts.
You can probably see at the top there, the one which is actually most interesting. Now, people said to me, why are you putting Trump alerts on that? I said, because this guy, whenever he speaks, he moves markets, or he moves something. So you've got to really pay attention to it. And I said, right, guys, we've got to have a page dedicated to this guy. So we have. So we've got Trump alerts. And I think that this is huge as well. What we do is create a synopsis of what he said, what it could do, and how could it change anything that he says. And and you can read the post, you can go out to his Trump social.
Exactly, to True Social, yeah.
Yes, it was True Social, yeah, sorry, True Social, you're right. And read it yourself. I think this is good from an indicative perspective. We're called Trend Edge for a moment, right? But the reason we're called Trend Edge is because we look at trends. And this guy drives trends. So
if you like it or not, but it's a fact.
If you like it or not, he's a market mover.
Yeah.
And Trend Edge was created for that. We also have news alerts as well, which is great. And you can look at through each one of the news articles and go out to each one of those, and that's fantastic. But everyone has this, and also social media alerts as well, which I think is absolutely imperative. So any of your stocks, is there any alerts on that? Rather than you being to have to troll back through the platform to find anything, these alerts will be sent out to you on a daily basis or a weekly basis, depending how you want to see them. So what it's a push rather than a pull based upon that. And I think that's huge. We do have a blog which looks at some of the highest of the trades of the week, the market movers, what's in spotlight, and gives you a real sort of much deeper analysis and understanding. I'm going to go into one of these as well. Like Lululemon and what's happening with these guys, and just gives you a full sort of much more deeper analytical report. If you're that sort of person who really wants to go into the depth of this, I think this is absolutely imperative. And these are updated. I think we're putting out somewhere in the region of sort of 10 to 12 blogs a day, based upon what we feel needs to be spoken about. So that's really just a sort of overview of the platform. From an information perspective, what I want to do now is if I log in, and then come on to what it can look like from the plot. Now, I started this with blank. I did have, so I wanted to shoot for this live stream, just wanted to be unsure that this is a blank spot. So this is what your portfolio can look like, and we haven't filled anything in here yet. And Robert, you said kindly you were going to do a trade for us and show us through the process. But what I want to do before we do that is just to show you what that looks like. So once you've done your research, and once you've gone to, you picked up 5 or 10 or 20 stocks, whatever it is, and go, okay, fine. I'm going to buy something here, and I want to see what happens. So let's say we go to, let's go to price predictions, for example. And you can look at the different signals and different stocks, and this is updating live. So let's have a look at, I don't know, Rob, you pick one. What do you want to have a look at?
I like to look at Nvidia, yeah, because it's my biggest investment. I hope they're doing well.
For a lot of people. Okay, fine. Let's put it there. Let's put it in here. Here we go. On NASDAQ, I'm guessing. Is it on Extra, on NASDAQ, or where are you?
NASDAQ, NVDA, the first one, yeah, exactly.
No, we got it. Okay, fine. So so here's the stock page list. Now, this is great because what you can now see is this is being updated live. Okay, so you can now see this operating right now. As I said to you, the analysis updates when you get onto that page. So now our AI and algorithms are in the background working on this right now, and bang, you've got it there straight away. So this is it. When you sign up, this is what you get. This is the much more richer, and you can scroll. You can manage these charts any way you want to. So you can scroll back through different times, and in some of the stuff you've got up to 4 years worth of data as well. So there's a real sort of lineage of time, and this really sort of shows exactly what I was saying beforehand. So where we are on point of time right here today, which is March the 20th, and then what you do get is a look at what that's going to look like over time, or our prediction based upon that. Then we go back to the evidence stack. Now, the evidence stack is where things start getting really interesting, and no one else does this. We're the only platform who has this evidence stack. And this is part of the decision process. This is the information where you can then start to put together, well, I do want to buy this, and why do I want to buy it? And what are my signals to be able to do that? And this is where you're going to get all this information. I could go through this in massive detail. I told you I could spend 5 hours talking about it. Yeah. I love it, and it's my this is what I love doing. So then it goes, and once again, we go down to the stock analysis, which shows you the conclusion of where we think it is. And now you can see that these have all not been grayed out. You can then see all of the data from all of the different alternative data signals that we used. And you can look at going through if that's something you want to do. But it shows you the validity of it, and it shows you that we're not just saying, some sites are being seen, I'm not going to name any competitors or anything because I just don't think it's worth doing. But some sites will say a sentiment score. Well, what does that mean? There's no granularity behind it. I don't understand what the sentiment is, and where does sentiment come from? And I think it's just ridiculous that they don't show their workings. I mean, when I was doing maths at school and you came up with a number, you had to show why you came up with a number. Well, we do that. Yeah. We show why we come up with these numbers, and I think that's really important to do that. So I think we're going to go into, let's say, for example, you want to buy, well, in fact, do you want to, I don't know, I'm thinking, Robert, is this a good time for you to drive here and then sort of click buy and buy some video on mock trading platform?
To drive? Sorry.
No?
No, okay. Sorry, I did not hear. There was some...
Sorry, I put you on the spot. My fault. No. So I'll do it. Okay. I'm going through it. So you want to buy something, okay.
Buy. Okay. No, yes. It was sometimes...
This is the plan to buy. And this is what we've created.
Yeah. This is very nice. I mean, this is very...
I just want to make it easy and just simple for people to do this. Now, this is, guys, obviously this is mock trading. There's no money involved here. And you can put in what you need to for your appetite, and this is where you can take away all your emotion, all your sort of risk, and you can say, okay, now I can be really pragmatic and disciplined, and only go on the data and the analysis of why I'm going to make a decision to spend money. And I think this is really important. So the first port of call always is how many shares. So let's go ballsy. Let's get 100. Okay, so we're going to say that, and then we're going to move forward. So this is now the evidence checklist. So as far as your catalyst is concerned, and I'm not going to fill all this in because this could take forever. I would need to go through a process of research myself.
But normally this is what you should do before you buy a stock. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've tried to break it down really simple because what I didn't want to do, if you like all these things, you make it too complicated and too long-winded, people might say, oh, you know what, I don't want to do this. I just want to buy it and just see what happens. And that's fine. And I actually we've done some analysis on that over the last sort of couple of quarters of what that looks like. And I've got a quarterly report to show you at the end of this, based upon just hypothetical examples of one hypothetical subscriber who created all of these thesis and went through this in the plan, and someone who didn't do it at all, and the output's quite interesting. So you can put in your calculus, you can say, okay, this is all free form, which is great. So you can just write in there whatever you want to. And then why is the attention rising? So you have to put in your discipline of what you think it is. Have you acknowledged the risk? What happens if it doesn't work? Well, what's the risk? And have you defined an exit? What price are you coming out at? And I think that's really important. Now, what you do is you can hit continue here, and you don't have to do this. We're not forcing you to do it, but we wanted to give you this option to do it. So at the bottom here, it's just a little checklist to say, I acknowledge I've not provided all the answers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. And then we move on to the next step, which is your thesis. Okay, this is where you really need to come to the end point of going, okay, what is my thesis for doing this? What is the entire reasoning behind why I want to do this? And if you talk to any junior trader that goes into a bank, anyone who's, before they're even allowed to touch bank money or client money, they have to go through this process. And they have to prove themselves until they're allowed to be able to do that. And then choose your risk level and say, okay, fine, it's going to be medium. And then you free type in here as well what that's going to be. And then you get to that point, acknowledge once again, because you haven't filled everything in. And then we go to confirm that trade. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because if you're happy and you think, okay, good, I'm happy with this price, I'm happy with where I am now, I want to buy it, so you can buy that straight away, and that's really fine. But also, what you then can do is go through this process of wait and confirm, which I think is quite interesting. So what you can choose, if the price goes up and below, you can choose a percentage that you want it. Like I'm going to come out, let's say if it goes up 15%. So if you want it to go up, if you want to come out, when it goes above 15%, you've already created that alert. And what happens now is you can say, hey, your trade plan will be saved. And when the price hits the target, we'll notify you and auto-execute. So you don't have to keep looking at every single day. You've already made the decision.
You get an email, in this case?
Send you an email. You get an email to say you've hit your target price and you've executed that trade. And then you can monitor it through your portfolio. And I think that's great. But what I'm going to do is go back and then sort of, go through this process again. Sorry, I clicked on this one. I hit the wrong button. Forward, so acknowledge this. So instead of doing the wait to confirm, I'm going to execute the buy order. And that's now done. And you can see here, it's been there. You can set alerts at this point if you want to. But then you can go back to your portfolio by clicking the trend edge symbol. This then goes back into your portfolio. It shows you what you bought. And it was only one share at the time. Okay. So now you've got it. You can show your transactions. You can see exactly what it is. Your trade plans have been documented, even though we didn't fill it all out, but just for information purposes. And you've shown exactly what it is. Now you can put a stop loss in. Yeah, you could create a stop loss, really, really simple. Or you can set some price alerts in here as well. I've got a few in from beforehand as well. So it's really, really simple stuff. It's really easy to manage, and it's really easy to look at going forward. And we surely want to show you a dispersity, the donut here, which I think is really important. If you're going to be diverse about what you do, it gives you a great indication of showing what that looks like. And if we do another live stream, and Robert, you said, we've got some more feature and functionality coming out in the roadmap. And when that happens, then it'd be great to come back and be able to go through that with you again. Because we do have some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline at the moment. And when we do, we can go into this portfolio in a little bit more detail. But I hope that gives you guys a good sort of understanding and a synopsis of what the portfolio, what the platform looks like, the ability for you to be able to go through this entire research process based upon the information we're giving you, and then create a portfolio based upon that, and go through this trade discipline from a research to decision process. And I think that's really important. And now I did say that at the start of this, that at the end, what's the output of this? What's the learning from it? And I was hoping what I wanted to try and do was just to share a different screen which shows what the quarterly performance report could look like. This is just an example, guys. Don't sort of come at me and say, hang on a minute, that doesn't look right from a numbers perspective. This is just an example based upon, so can you see that, Robert?
Yes. Oh.
Okay, great. This is what you'll get. This is an example of what you'll get sort of on a quarterly, weekly, and monthly basis based upon what you've done in that time frame. And it just shows basically what we showed from a sort of mock trade perspective. You invested 25,000. You've had 7 wins, 1 flat, 1 loss. These are controlled, and this is what your return was based upon the quarter. These are the stocks that this is just a little illustrative, and she doesn't exist, Sarah. So this is just for an example perspective, and it really just showing what your entry point is, what exit was, what you made, and then really sort of understanding what the trade plan review was. And what we do is we give a sort of example, just a sort of review of what that is. So this is part of the learning process, because it's all great going through this and trying to understand yourself, but unless you come out the end, and then there's some sort of synopsis of what went right, what went wrong, and where the potential learning points are, there's no point doing any of this. And I think this is the absolute, the most important part of it, is to be able to read this. And I won't go through it in all detail at the moment, but I wanted to give you an understanding of what that could look like. The reason for the wins, the reasons why one of the stocks was flat, and reasons why some were lost. And that's Sarah's as well. And then we had another guy, James. James was pretty naughty. He didn't plan anything, bless him. And what he did was, he made some successes based upon on the platform. But as it says here, James made some money, but that's not the problem. And it talks around what the problem is.
Which is good.
We try and add a little humour in there as well to lighten things up. Because
British humour,
it can get a bit boring. And just to give you this kind of thick, sort of rich report, which you look at and go, okay, yeah, great, wow, I could have learned from that. And I think that's the most sort of important part of it. So I hope that was a sort of a good feedback. I hope that's given you guys enough information on what we're trying to achieve at TrendEdge.
Well, there was also a question here coming up, a little bit like news trading.
I'd be disappointed if there weren't any questions, I'm going to be honest.
But I think it's not really like news trading, yeah? It's more like an informed based decision making, which you have to go through in, as I had my hedge fund in China, the traders had to do this sort of analysis, otherwise you cannot touch the money. Impossible. No. You have to explain yourself what you're doing and not just clicking. And if you do this with your own money, with your own capital, I think most of the traders, they will not lose so much. They would actually turn it around.
Yeah. It really is very true. And I see a friend of mine, I have close friends of mine who are retail investors themselves, and they trade on hunches, they trade on what people have said, they trade on when they've read the newspaper. By the time you've got there, you've missed out on the profit. You really have. And to be, to get in there early, we all know this, okay? Everyone knows that to try and get in before the first spike is concerned, because that's where the heaviest can be.
Yeah.
And to be able to try and preempt that and predict that is done through your own research and to have the right data at the right time. And this is what TrendEdge is trying to do to give you. And we've shown you that. You look at our track record, and we've proven ourselves. And we have very, very many happy subscribers who tell me that. And I'm really proud of what we've achieved and what we've created here, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, that's also the next question. What does it cost? Or if I'm an investor, what do I have to do?
You guys are very lucky, because I don't give away free trials, but Robert said, look, if we're going to do this, we need to give these guys an incentive. So if you click on the affiliate link, on the link
below in the description,
you get 30 days for free.
Yeah.
We give you a whole month for free, which I hope is going to be a good enough time to really get a better sort of grasp of the platform and an understanding of what the art of the possible is. And I think that 30 days should be plenty to do that. So you're the only ones in the world at the moment who can actually go on Trendesh for free for a month. No one else is able to do that. So yeah, it doesn't cost you anything for the first month.
And
then
check
afterwards, if you look at the pricing tiers, and we do it in different levels as well. So you know, it can cost you as little as little as $19 a month, up to $79 a month, and that's all based upon different entry levels and different functionality that you'll see through those tiers. So yeah, so you can go on the platform, all the pricing is there, and you'll be able to see it there. But as I say, you get it for 30 days for free.
That is for me, just log in every day and check the Trump news and the Reddit alerts.
Do you know what? It's one of our most visited pages.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Google Analytics to look at that. I think it's last month it was the second most visited page.
Yeah.
Yeah, well there you go. So it was worth putting up. It was worth doing an analysis on whenever he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, Robert. Then thank you. Yeah. Anything?
Wonderful. Any more questions, or are we good?
I think right now we are good. And otherwise in our community, it will be posted and everyone can watch the recording and ask also questions in the community. Okay, there is another question. Is there enough material on the web or website to understand more in depth of this automation?
Sorry.
Is there enough material on the web or website to understand more in depth about this automation? I mean, how you automate these things, how you get your conclusion.
Automation as far as the trade automation?
No, I think generally the AI system, that you are using.
Oh, I see. Sorry, no, there is. I mean, if you look at each one of the pages, we explain how the AI score works, and we explain you know, how the data is disseminated, and what some of the AI tools that we use to create that. So go through the site, all the information's there. So do look at it. And if there are any questions that you have which isn't, you know, in that, feel free to contact me directly.
Yeah.
Or to put it on the comments. I will look through those comments and I will answer those directly. Am I allowed to do that, Robert?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, please put it on the comments. I will answer all of those directly myself. I won't get anyone else to do that. So more than happy to.
Yeah, let me check here. Yeah, it's about the functionality. Yeah, well, if you have really questions, ask them in our day trading community, in the chat room, and Robert will come back to you, or just go to trendedgeai.com and ask him directly. You will find his contact details there.
My link there is, so if you go to, there's a link, email link, info@trendedge.ai. If you go on there, it goes into our CRM system, and it comes to me and the rest of my team, and we will answer any questions you have. No problem at all. We have a 24-hour service level agreement. I have that with my guys. Nothing takes longer than 24 hours to reply.
Oh, that's good.
Really important. Really important.
Yeah, perfect. Then thank you, Robert, and we see each other anyway. We are going to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert, thanks very much indeed. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching, and have fun with the site. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.